To say that there was a time I was obsessed with this game is an understatement. When it first came out, I played it non-stop for so long that even my Skyrim time seems like a bathroom break by comparison. Other than Resident Evil 4, this is the game I have beaten the most times. That being said, I hadn't played it in a couple of years and a lot has changed since the last time. So today I will be taking a look at Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 2 and analyzing it through new eyes. So let's get right into my review. For those who don't know, Naruto Shippuden Ultimate Ninja Storm 2, this is the last time I say its full name, I promise. It's a 3D anime arena fighting game where you follow the plotline of the manga and anime Naruto from the beginning of the time skip, so 3 years after the events of the first Storm game, to the destruction of the Leaf Village arc. You don't need to have played the previous game or even watched Naruto to understand the story, but if you want a quick recap, the game has you covered with memories you can collect through the world. If you want to replay story missions, you also have to collect them in the same way, and it just feels like more unnecessary fluff. With the parts that aren't in the game, I kinda understand where they are coming from, but with the fights in the game, it really just feels sleazy. Almost like those Steam games that drag out the beginning so you can't refund them later. You know exactly what I mean. The story mode has been greatly expanded with some beautiful boss fights and cinematics. Say what you want about the plot or the game itself, but the spectacle of it is wonderful. While on the first game there was some boss fights which felt very repetitive, in this one almost every chapter has a unique fight, some even with a complete change of gameplay. Gone are those boring text scrolls of the previous game. Now everything is at least semi-animated. The story is still very abridged, but this time they do a much better job at not only telling it, but also making it interesting, even if you aren't a fan of Naruto. The visuals are even better than Storm 1. Everything looks very good. Sure, there are a few visual glitches, but nothing too bad overall. At the time, there was no game that looked so much like its source material anime as Storm 2 did. It was mind-blowing. The environments are very pretty and more interesting than Storm 1. However, we also lost the fun village traversal. Everything is a stagnant screen with no camera control. Only a few exceptions exist, which are just open terrain. I really hope you hate running, because this game refuses to let you run. The traversal speed is much slower than the previous game, however, you do have more places to go. Sometimes speech bubbles show up when you're going places in the main plot, which completely clutter the screen and make it so hard to keep track of everything. There's also no fast travel until you beat the game. Also, the fast travel needs to be bought. They also doubled down on the junk collecting. This time around you have to collect items everywhere to craft. Not in an RPG sense where you must constantly do it. Once you do it once, the item is for sale on the store. The ninja tools, for example, you only purchase once. This game demands a lot of walking around, but nerfed your speed by a lot, which is very annoying as you might imagine. Just like Storm 1, this game doesn't respect your time, although it's a lot better at it than its predecessor. You can absolutely beeline the story and never touch any side quests, except for maybe 2 or 3 that serve almost as tutorials, and you don't need to collect stuff. However, after beating the plot, there is nothing for you if you don't want to do any of this side content. That's obviously pretty normal. Plenty of games work like that, but the side content is not anything that interested me. Yeah, let's keep it like that. Don't get me wrong, it's not the worst thing I have ever played, but most of it is also quite boring. It doesn't really help that your team to do side quests consists of very few characters. Sadly, even though the goofiness of them talking to Naruto but fighting someone else is still there, they don't allow you to pick any character for fights, unlike they did on the previous game. Luckily, there aren't stupid fight requirements that you need to follow to win. There are some extra stipulations, but they either make the enemy harder or reward you with extra items you can sell for money. There are also friendship levels which lead to letters being exchanged with you and another character, and once you max it out, an event happens. These are fun if you're invested in the character and want some more interactions with them. For me, they were a step note which I tried out, and that's really it. I did find it funny that you can just spam the same gift and improve your relations with them that way, so that's a little tip for you, I guess. You can also collect different birds which collect things for you and deliver set letters. There is one side quest that I do recommend you complete, which is the doll collecting, which consists of fighting dolls that turn into random characters. This side quest will lead to the hidden last story fragment. If you want to unlock the hardest side quest as well, just for fun, you can also do the pearl retrieval one. Doing both of them will lead to the 10 trial side quest, which has the hardest fights in the game. Not that that's saying a lot, because honestly the game's kinda really easy. Despite the game being a bit slow, the combat itself became quite faster and more fluid. For the most part, it just feels like a more refined formula of Storm 1, and I recommend you check out my video on it if you want a more detailed description of the combat. Wink wink. Some things were changed. Gone is the Storm Gauge, being replaced with a support one, which makes much more sense. Summoning your support characters now fills up a meter. Once it's full, your support will show up on its own without counting as a use. There are 3 types of support characters: attack, balanced, and defense. Each character has a predefined one, but later on you can unlock the option to change them. Once you fill the bar twice, you can unleash a team ultimate jutsu, which deals more damage. A little tip to make things easier: some characters' ultimate jutsu are harder to land than others, mostly the ones where you have to get the opponent in the same spot. Using the team ultimate jutsu changes this to a rush type 1, which is much easier to land. Keep in mind though that the bar won't stay full forever, so use it when you can. Although the combat is not deep like other fighting games, it's easy to pick up and understand, and it's a lot of fun. A lot of care and attention was put into every move. In fact, with all the game, you really feel like they wanted to bring the anime to a new medium with its own spin. That alone makes Storm 2 special. The game also constantly rewards you with stuff. Whether it's a new title for your online card or a new character, it's constantly trying to make you feel rewarded. Most of these are not very good, such as the before mentioned character support type changes. I mean, it just feels unnecessary, but nonetheless they tried. A lot of stuff is unlocked by gaining SP. This is such a good idea, as even characters unlock with SP once you reach a certain amount. Every fight rewards you with some points, so even if you have no interest in playing the story, then you can still unlock things by playing free battle mode. I love the freedom to skip the adventure mode, even if I do think you're missing out on something very special by doing so. Storm 2 is still a bit lacking in modes, only consisting of adventure mode, free battle mode with single and team battles where the battle options are very limited, but hey, at least you can pick what your substitution looks like, and online play. I couldn't test online play as I don't have PS Plus, so I don't know if there are still people playing. What I do remember from the PS3 version is that the connection was not very reliable, and that you could make a greeting card with a picture you can earn or purchase on adventure mode and a title. There was ranked and unranked matches. In the end, most fights just consisted in people choosing the Naruto that can turn into the six-tailed form and spamming the jutsu non-stop. What I used to do was choose Minato every time I saw that they did that, as his speed and teleportation made it easy to avoid every attack. But this was on the original release way back on the PS3. As of now, I don't really know. This time around you have 44 characters, including Lars from Tekken 6, and 23 stages to fight on, and thank you for that. Storm 1 had 9 stages, which is not nearly enough, so I'm glad this time there was more visual variety, even if ultimately they are just the same with a different look. They also kept the original voice actors for Japanese and English, and the music is just as catchy as it's always been, even if it's not always used in the most opportune ways. Speaking of which, something that bothered me a bit was the sound of walking on the adventure mode. For the most part it works. They even bothered to give different noises for walking on different terrains, but in particular on the part where Naruto was sad and is slowly walking, the noises on the steps were so out of sync that they were killing me a bit. It's a really stupid thing to get worked out about, I know, but it really messed with me. Sadly, they also didn't fully fix the lip syncing. It's not as bad as Storm 1, but it's still not good. To be honest, the game is very pretty and the cinematic fights are extremely fluid and well made, but the other parts of the story, primarily anything that happens on the world map, is very stiff and just one step away from traditional visual novel dialogue bubbles. There's a lot of fluff to this game, and it's not perfect, but damn, I had a lot of fun with it. If you love the anime or the manga, then this is a no-brainer recommendation. If not, well, it's going to depend on what you value in a game. I think I have told you more than enough for you to make up your mind, so if it looks fun, give it a try. The cinematic boss fights are so good, and the combat is so fun and relaxed that I can forgive the extra time consuming stuff. Especially since unlike the first Storm game, it doesn't force you to do any of it. In the end, I had fun despite all the imperfections. Next time, I will be playing the only game in the series that I have never touched, that being Storm 3. I hope for some improvements and a whole new array of cinematic fights, but that is another story for another time. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you're interested in the Storm games, make sure to press the bell icon not to miss my next 2 reviews. Thank you and see you next time.